Hey guys, hope you guys are all doing well right now. I'm back here with another tips and tricks video, and I wanted to make this because the progression and the tank guide video that I've been talking about in the last few videos is taking a little bit longer than expected for me. Just trying to make sure that, you know, I'm putting it together really well and it's not going on and dragging on too long like my videos normally do. So I wanted to just get a short video out there for you guys, and I know there's a lot of new players that are looking for tips and tricks, and I get a lot of people asking for tips in my Twitch chat over at twitch.tv/heyquadro. So definitely come check that out over there, and if you haven't already seen my other tips and tricks video, definitely check that out on my channel as well. Without any more rambling from me, guys, let's get into the tips. All right guys, first tip right off the bat here is going to be about hip firing. Now I think that games like Call of Duty and Battlefield have really conditioned a lot of players to not hip fire, because in those games hip firing tends to be pretty inaccurate and not very effective unless you're using like a submachine gun or something like that. But in Enlisted, hip firing is very powerful. Even if you're just using like a bolt action rifle, if you're in close quarters, don't aim down sights. Just, you know, hip fire and hope that your bullet goes right into the guy's chest, because more often than not it probably will. Now obviously a bolt action is going to be less effective than a semi-auto like a Garand or a Gewehr, which is even less effective than a machine gun or a submachine gun like an MP40 or something like that. But even still, hip firing is obscenely powerful, and if you're breaching into a building, you're clearing a room or something like that, or even if you just get caught out in the open, some guy's beating your head in, use the hip fire. Just start spraying, shooting as much as possible from the hip, and odds are you're probably going to kill someone. Second tip is something that everyone should be doing, and this is something that you should just try to get into a habit of doing. And to be honest with you guys, I'm guilty of not doing this because it's something that you just have to keep up with, and it's marking enemies. Now if you don't know, you can mark with V on PC. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know the button on console, but I'm sure that you guys can figure it out, or someone maybe down in the comments can let me know. But essentially you just want to mark enemies. If you see a squad run down in the open, drop a mark on them, right? If you see a tank, especially tanks, mark them. You see an MG42 mowing down your team, mark them, right? You see a rally point, mark it. Just mark everything that you see, because that information can be really helpful for your team, especially groups of soldiers, because that means that your team will know where the enemy is coming from. And if you've got planes in the air, especially, planes will be able to do bombing runs on them and rack up, you know, a huge amount of kills. And this is something that actually just recently changed, and I'm not 100% how effective this is, but according to the patch notes, if you do mark things, your AI in your squad will actually turn and look towards those marks, so you can kind of command your squad to look around in the specific areas and maybe pick off some guys in the distance. So that is something that I haven't seen to be entirely effective, but that may change as the game develops. And I've heard a lot of people say that it is effective, so I just personally haven't seen it, but that's not to say that it isn't something that is effective, because be honest, I don't really use my AI squad mates a ton. So just remember to always be marking everything, because it helps your team, it helps you, it helps everybody really. I apologize, this is something that I don't actually have a clip for, because this is something that is pretty rare for it to happen, but it's a pretty neat thing that you can actually do. So if you are in a tank battle and some of your crew gets knocked out, but you win the battle, then someone else can actually run up and jump into your tank, and they can crew your tank with you. Now again, this is something that happens so rarely because most people aren't playing with others, but if you are grouped together and you're playing in a group and you got, you know, you're in party chat or whatever, or Discord, you can actually have, you know, you can call one of your buddies over. I've done this. I've jumped into a buddy's tank and drove him backwards to a better position because everyone in his tank except his gunner had died, right? You're going to be significantly less effective than if you were just one guy in the tank, but nevertheless, you know, you can get someone out of a bad situation, or you can just kind of goof off for a little bit, you know, do a duo tank thing. It can be kind of fun. So yeah, if you know, if you lose some guys in your tank, you can even type in chat, be like, hey guys, I lost my tankers, can someone come jump in my tank, drive me around, right? You know, of course you're going to be less effective, but it's still a lot of fun. So just a little tip that not very many people know about. You can crew tanks that have been decrewed by, you know, tank battles. Another one people might not know about, you can throw grenades back. So if a grenade lands at your feet or lands in the room that you're in, you can actually run up to it and you hit the melee button, which is middle mouse button on PC, and again console I have no idea, but if you hit that button while looking at the grenade, it's really important that you're looking at the grenade. Your guy will actually pick the grenade up and you can throw it back whichever way you're looking. Now this is really important because if someone just tosses a grenade at you, or God forbid an explosive pack, and your whole squad's just standing there looking at it, you're all gonna die. So you know, there have been plenty of times where I've picked up a grenade and thrown it out of the room to save my squad, or even thrown it into the room next to me, right? Or just thrown it out of the way because it would have wiped out my squad otherwise. And you can even, if you get to it fast enough, you can even throw it right back at the enemy and snag some kills, which is always really satisfying and a lot of fun to do. So be looking out for that little grenade icon and try to throw that grenade back to save some squad mates and maybe even save an objective or two. Next tip is much more important for the Americans in Normandy than it is for the Germans, but nevertheless it is important for everyone to know, and it's that you can actually shoot the mounted MG42s to break them. Now this obviously isn't very realistic, but it is currently the best and most effective way of destroying MG42s. It normally takes a couple shots depending on the gun. You can see little sparks fly out from it, but this is unbelievably important for you guys to be doing, especially on D-Day, where the Germans are going to want to just be constantly using the MG42s. You know, pick up a sniper and just start picking off MG42s. Even if there's no one on them, just shoot them, break them. You'll see them fall, and then they're totally gone. There have been games where I've literally spent the first like 5 minutes of D-Day just shooting MG42s with the sniper because of how powerful those MG42s can be, because they're just lasers, and so you really need to take them down. And just remember that you can always just take a couple shots at them, pick them off, and they're completely useless at that point. So if your whole team's getting mowed down by them repeatedly, just grab a sniper, grab someone with a bolt action, take some shots, flank around even, and just take out the MG42 nest that way. Going off the last tip of shooting things to break them, don't sit there and disassemble rally points, enemy rally points, because you could just unload on them. Just waste some bullets. If you just fire like 10 bullets or so, or 5 bullets into an enemy rally point, it'll just break it just by you shooting it. So this is a much faster way to just get rid of a rally point, of an enemy rally point, than sitting there and disassembling it while the enemy can just walk up and shoot you. So you see an enemy rally point, just unload half a magazine towards it in a general direction and you'll probably break it. Now you can also break it with grenades. So if you're a little too far away, or it's in a building, or you can't get close enough because there's so many enemies around it, just toss a grenade at it and odds are it'll also go down that way. And finally, the last tip here, guys, you can actually go up to down teammates as long as you have a med kit and revive them. So whenever the guys have gone down and they're in that kind of down but not out state where they have to like pick themselves back up, that takes like 10 seconds or 8 seconds or something like that to revive themselves. It's quite a while. But if you actually go up to them and hold F on PC or whatever the revive button is on console, you'll just shove a syringe into their back and it takes like 2 seconds or something. It's much faster, and they'll get right back up. And this is a good way to where, you know, if you're holding a building and there's just like 2 of you guys left, right, and you guys have been holding this and you have to hold it for just a little bit longer, you're trying to hold this objective for like a triple cap, or maybe you're on assault and so you need to hold this building, and you know, whole German army's coming at you guys, or the American army, you know, you can just, you know, shove a syringe into that guy that went down next to you and get him back in that fight just a little bit faster. And maybe that's the difference between losing the objective and holding the objective. So just keep in mind, you know, if you see a guy down, just shove a syringe into his back and he'll probably get back up pretty quick. Thanks for watching, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, please remember to subscribe and like to feed my ego. If you have any other tips as well, please remember to, you know, drop those down in the comments for other players and for me. And come check me out on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/HeyQuadro. We stream Monday through Thursdays from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. EST. So if you guys want to see some live Enlisted gameplay, come hang out, you know, play with me as well. I would love to have you guys over there.